Let's look forward to this game against the Giants. I think it's a fascinating game because the Niners are beat up, but so are the Giants. I mean, the Giants couldn't run the ball with Saquon Barkley. Now they don't have him. They also don't have their number one wide receiver, Sterling Shepard. So the Niners should win this game, right? Well, I think it's going to, yes, they're 4-point favorites. But to me, what makes this game dramatic isn't exactly. Thank you. It's not the Giants. It's this turf. And you shouldn't underestimate it because the Niners just made a whole big deal about, what did I say? The Niners made a whole big deal about the turf, how it's not good. It led to ACL injuries. The players saw Nick Bosa go down. They saw Solomon Thomas go down. Kyle Shanahan complained about it. The NFL, and maybe rightfully so, the NFL investigated it, said nothing's wrong. The NFLPA is investigating it. Fine. So you've made this whole issue about the turf. How do you go into your team meeting on Wednesday and present, I'm talking to Kyle Shanahan right now, and present the game plan to the team and say, I know I've just been arguing to the league that this playing field is unsafe, but now we're going to go out and we're going to play with confidence at full speed. How do you get that point across? You have to, because if you don't, you lose a game you have to win. You got to beat the Giants. The season isn't over. But if you start dropping these games to bad teams, how are you going to do in the NFC West? So they got to win this game. They can win this game. Shanahan has to get the Niners players to buy in to playing on this surface. And I think he can. So, but to me, the whole task for Shanahan this week is psychological. It's not necessarily about what he's going to call on 3rd and 7, although that's part of it. It's psychological. How do you get your team up to play on a field 7 days after a massacre went down? Now you won, but you lost all these players and they felt the surface. We just talked to Trent Williams right now. Said, well, how do you feel about going back out on that surface? And he said, it's like, I'm going to pray before the game and hope it all goes well. That's where he's at. Prayer. He's appealing to a higher authority on Sunday. That's scary. I mean, a couple of days ago, thank you. Thanks. My hair usually looks awful. A couple of days ago, Larry Mullins came on this show, the grandfather of the starting quarterback for the 49ers this upcoming weekend, and said, what's up with the Niners footwear? Have they investigated that? What are they going to be wearing on Sunday? And you know what? I'd be nervous too if my grandson or someone I knew was playing in this game on Sunday, because the Niners didn't seem prepared for that field. I don't know what they were using. I don't know. But look, as a former varsity soccer player in high school, I can tell you I'm an expert on footwear. And I played on a composite field at Bishop O'Dowd. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows my background. I played on turf, the new turf, but then we were in the Hayward Area Athletic League, so you go to places like San Leandro, Hayward, where there was no turf. It was just mud. So when you go to the mud fields, you bring the long spikes. When you play on turf, you don't use that stuff. You use regular soccer cleats. So the fact that the Niners' feet were getting stuck in that spongy turf makes me feel like the Niners weren't wearing the right cleats, that they should have been wearing small little cleats or tennis shoes. I would think soccer cleats would be perfect for that MetLife field. If they were wearing long studs, football cleats with like 1-inch spikes, well, that's a mistake. And I'm guessing the Jets and Giants don't use those kind of spikes when they play there. So what the Niners need to do, and I'm guessing they have, they need to, is contact someone with the Jets or Giants organization and say, hey guys, what do you use? What type of footwear do your players use on this field? Because whatever we were using wasn't working. The Niners come from a grass field where it can get a little slippery. I'm guessing the type of spikes they need at Levi's are much longer than the type of spikes they would need at MetLife. So they got to figure that out. Otherwise, they're going to have more injuries and the team's going to be discouraged and they're going to lose. So to me, this is a psychological warfare game. They have to go back to this. It's like the Vietnam War. Like you have more firepower than the other team, but it's not your home field. You have an issue with this surface. So what are you going to do? It's all a psychological thing. And this is what how I like to grade Kyle Shanahan because we all know he's a great offensive coordinator. He might be the best offensive coordinator in the league. But now we want to see his leadership. This is a leadership week. Get your guys up for playing on a bad surface against a bad team and take care of business. Because right now there's like a cloud hanging over the organization. It's almost depressing. All these guys that are hurt, and you got to go back and play on the field again. Yikes. So you got to get them to buy in somehow. You got them to buy in to play through a pandemic. You got them to buy in to playing football in the first place. That's pretty far. And what Trent Williams said today is, look, man, yeah, I mean, it stinks to have to play on this surface, but I also got a 300-pound guy trying to put me on my back. So at that point, I'm less worried about the surface, but he still is going to pray before the game. I'm not going to pray, but I respect that. It's a psychological game. I love that. It's not about the X's and O's as much here.